Welcome back to Off Script. It is Chris and Robbie with you on this Wednesday evening, just gone 7 o'clock. And Rob, we're joined by a man who I like to think is a good friend of this show now.
I like to think so as well.
You might not think it, but you do.
I like to think so. Of course, it is the former Bournemouth, the former West Ham, the former Tottenham manager, the king of the jungle. It is Harry Redknapp. He is a very good friend of the show. And Harry, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, guys. Nice to be here.
Harry, it's great to have you. Great to see you. You're looking well, looking as if you've had a bit of sun in the last day or two as well, which is nice.
Yesterday, yeah.
Let's give us some idea as to why you're in Dubai, because I am told you're in demand and there's going to be an awful lot of people heading down to Mövenpick JBR on Friday night.
Yeah, we've got a show on Friday night, so looking forward to it. It's a show that we did in England. We did a tour last year, and with Noel Brodie, me and Noel went on, and I think we did something like nearly 40 theatres, didn't we, last year? And it went great. I mean, it was when I was asked to do it, I thought, well, I don't know if I could do it really. It's certainly something I'd never done before, but it went well, and then we were asked to come over here and do one show, and so yeah, we're here. I'm here. Yeah, looking forward to it.
I'm told tickets are selling out fast. Anyone listening to this, you got to get on Platinum List. You got to get on Ticket Lovers quickly, because there's only a few tickets left, and that's testament to you. It's testament to Noel. But give us a flavour without giving too much away. What can punters expect on Friday night?
Well, lots of stories. You know, we have a laugh, and yeah, I think we've got loads and loads of stories. I mean, we wing it really. It's not one of them. We haven't got a script where I sit down and go, oh yeah, this, we just sort of, once I get going and something else comes in my mind, I'm talking, I'll tell another story, and yeah, it's good fun. We talk. It's mostly football, and it's, as you say, it's I'm a Celebrity and that type of stuff.
We wing our show every night, Harry, so it's all right. We're in good company here. Listen, there's a lot of talking points, as there always is, to get to in the world of football, and the cups are coming under fire from the two biggest managers in the Premier League. Keen to get your thoughts. Chris and I had a pretty heated debate last night about Jurgen Klopp's decision to not be at the replay, the FA Cup replay against Shrewsbury Town. Some fans are saying that Jurgen Klopp has brought shame on Liverpool Football Club for essentially disrespecting the FA Cup and disrespecting Shrewsbury Town. Keen to get your take on it.
Well, I don't know if he's bringing shame on Liverpool, but certainly I do think he should be there. It's the FA Cup, it's a game, and there's nothing more important than watching your team play, whatever game it is and whatever time it is. We have the summer, where you can get your holidays in or whatever. So, it's a game. The FA Cup for me is, when I grew up, was the competition. Once a year we had a football match on TV, and it was the FA Cup. So the tradition of the cup for me is always important. And so, but as a football manager, you're there. You go and watch. You should be. If your team are playing, you've got to be there.
The magic of the FA Cup is thrown out an awful lot, Harry. You've won it, lest we forget. You've won this FA Cup. Has the magic gone? I've seen a lot said and written this past season about got to scrap replays.
Yeah.
I was always, when I grew up, the replays are the games that give the lower league teams chances to keep the tea lady in a job and the kit man in a job. Absolutely.
I mean, the FA Cup was, as I say, it was always special. I managed Bournemouth when we were struggling third division team. I mean, we were struggling. We had a poor side. My first year in charge there, and we drew Man United in the cup. We were cup holders. 11 internationals: Ron Atkinson, Brian Robson, that team. And we beat them 2-0 at Dean Court. And don't ask me what happened on the day. I thought if we got a corner, we were going to do well. It was one of them. I thought, let's not get beat 6 or 7-0 today. And we end up winning 2-0. And it's special. But that's what that's what. The round before, we'd gone to play Dartford and they battered us, and we hung on for a replay. But that's the magic of the FA Cup, isn't it? The underdog, it gives. It's not just about Premier League. People forget there was football before Premier League came in, and the smaller clubs' revenue is all important. That day they'll never forget the Sutton United beating Coventry many years ago, and all the great cup upsets. Hereford and beating Newcastle, with Ronnie Radford scored that wonder goal, and then we played. Actually, I was playing at West Ham at the time, and we drew Hereford after they knocked Newcastle out. And we went to Hereford on a Tuesday night and played on ankle-deep mud, and they battered us. I mean, we hung on. Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters, Bobby Moore played in that team that I played in that day. And we hung on for grim life, and we played, and we got a replay back at Upton Park, and it was the time of the electricity strike. So we had to kick off at 12 o'clock. Tuesday afternoon.
Wow.
They closed the gates at Upton Park at 10 o'clock, full house, because Hereford had captured the imagination, and so 2 hours before kick-off, the gates were closed. And we beat them 3-1 that day. Jeff Hurst got a hat-trick. But it was, that was the magic of the FA Cup, wasn't it? Hereford put Hereford on the map. That the money they made from them games, would have kept them going for years. So, yeah, it's a shame. I think, I do think we are. It has gone. It is going because teams now put reserve teams out.
Do you take issue with that? Because I am very much of the view that you, as a football man, as a football manager, you get to pick the team. It's up to you. If you want to play youngsters, that's your responsibility to do that.
But it only shows, Chris, really, you don't pick them because you want to play the youngsters, in all honesty, and want to look at them and see. You pick them because you want to rest your first team players. That's all it is. You don't want to get injuries because you want to finish in the top 4, or you want to obviously stay in the Premier League. They're the all-important issues now, and it's staying up in the Premier League is where the money is, and that's where everything is almost, So,
what's the answer? What's the answer, Harry? Do we put more onus? Do we put more money on winning an FA Cup? Do we put, dare I say it, do we put a Champions League spot?
Yes, I think that would be an amazing idea. A great idea. That 4th spot, make it FA Cup winners, and then you'll see them all. You'll see them all.
Because the Premier League, it's just engulfed the money in the Premier League and the onus, not just from the Premier League teams on staying there, but also the Championship teams on getting there. It means that Championship teams are prioritising their league schedule over the FA Cup as well.
Yeah.
So it's robbing a lot of teams of the ability to actually win that tournament. And that's why I guess you do end up seeing the same 4 or 5 clubs in the latter stages every year.
Every year, the stronger. But, teams do. I've seen teams that are halfway up the table and suddenly they'll rest 10 players. It's all about, because every position in the Premier League is massive money. You're talking about every position. You finishing 14th to finishing 12th. I don't know, it's probably, millions. It's a couple of million quid or something anyway. So, that's where the money is. It's in the Premier League. So they're certainly not going to... That's where they tend to put all their eggs these days. But it's a shame because I'm a big, as I say, traditionalist, and the FA Cup is all important, I think, still.
I want to stick with Liverpool if I can, Harry. Interested to see one or two pundits, Roy Keane being one, has said that this Liverpool team is not great because it's not won a title, it's not won a couple of titles in a short space of time. Now, they've lost one game in 61. Champions League winners last season, back-to-back Champions League finals. In your opinion, is this Liverpool team great?
It's a great team. It's got to go on a run they've been on. They really are. They're a special team. I wouldn't sit and say it's the greatest team we've ever seen in the Premier League. That's up for debate. We've seen some great teams over the years. The Man United, the Arsenal Invincibles. It's everyone's got their own opinion. Who would be the better? Who would win if looking at.
On that then, Harry, who's the best team you've come up against?
Well, I would go back before the Premier League.
Good, I like that.
I would go back to Leeds United.
Don Revie's.
That Don Revie team. I felt, when you look back at a team with balance, it was incredible, really. Reaney and Cooper. Reaney was probably the only man George Best never got a kick against. He was hard as nails, quick as lightning, aggressive. Terry Cooper was the best attacking left-back in the world. Jack Charlton, Norman Hunter. Johnny Giles, Billy Bremner in midfield were just 2 5'6", 5'5" central midfield players who could play like you wouldn't believe, but also were absolutely very, very nasty. And, they could sort you out. They wouldn't care if you were 6'4", they would cut you down to size. And then you had Peter Lorimer, who could score goals from 35, 40. You had dynamite in his boots. Eddie Gray, who was a genius of a footballer on the other side. And then you had Alan Clark and Mick Jones up front. You had people like Joe Jordan around the squad, That, for me, I always felt, Gary Sprake was the goalkeeper, but I thought that was an amazing, balanced team,
Of the Premier League era, Harry, you've got obviously Pep's City team, the latest incarnation, who've been so successful. Fergie had a couple of teams, the 08 Champions League winners, the 99 Champions League winners, the brilliant Jose Mourinho Chelsea team as well. Arsenal's Invincibles. I guess they would be the cluster. Arsenal, which one would be top for you?
We would be between Arsenal's Invincibles and the Man United team. I thought the Man United team was the teams, you go through the teams.
Is this the 99 United team?
I probably lost track on it a little bit.
Is it the team with Ronaldo and Tevez, or is it the team that won the treble in '99?
Probably the team
with York and.
Well, probably the team that won the treble, I'd have thought. But both, I mean, they're both Man United teams. Again, great balance to the teams. Had width, didn't they? Whether it was Giggs and Beckham or Ronaldo, whoever. Scholes, Keane. I mean, it was just fantastic people like Vidic and Jaap Stam and Rio Ferdinands and all them people that came through. Dennis Irwin was an amazing fullback. It was just a team full of great goalkeepers. And that Arsenal team, when you look back at the Arsenal team, I mean, that was some team and all, wasn't it? Vieira, Petit, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, people like that around, Tony Adams. When you talk about the great captains and leaders, I mean, it was amazing. Some amazing teams.
You mentioned leaders there, Harry. I've got my own views on this. Has it become soft a little bit? I look at the lack of leaders, and I'll throw that one out there. There doesn't seem to me, if you threw you could literally throw a blanket over a few men that I think of leaders. Mark Noble springs to mind. A bit of a throwback is Mark Noble. They don't make them like that.
No.
They don't make them like Roy and Patrick Vieira anymore. What is that down to?
Well, John Terry.
Great example.
John Terry, what a captain, John Terry. Tony Adams, amazing captain. No, I don't know. They just don't seem to be around anymore, do they? And it's getting more and more difficult. I mean, we've seen, you've seen that with Man United this year. I mean, how many captains have they had, And I think now they've settled on the right. Harry Maguire, I think, will be a good captain for them. Arsenal, look at Arsenal. Yeah. I mean, Arsenal are the club that's had the most captains this year, and I still. Bangham he's not really. I mean, he wouldn't be a captain for me. I mean, no, I don't know him, but
it's a bit of a problem when your captain's falling out with his own fans.
I know, and then you're Xhaka. I mean, God, you've got to be struggling with his captain, haven't you?
Couple more for you, Harry. Got to ask you about Jose Mourinho and his tenure thus far at Spurs. Is he? I had the suspicion that he wouldn't be successful at Tottenham when he very spontaneously and all of a sudden replaced Pochettino. None of us really saw that coming, even though we knew Poch was under a bit of pressure. I think that surprised the whole world of football. And I haven't been blown away by what he's done thus far. He's been unlucky, to be fair. Harry Kane's injury, of course, and obviously now they've sold Christian Eriksen. There are definitely one or two gaps in that team, but the fact that he's not got the budget, and Jose's always had a track record of going in there and spending quite a bit of money to get success. Do you see him as the winner that he was when he took over at Chelsea 15 years ago?
Well, if he hasn't got the budget to buy players, no, he's got no chance. I mean, that's as simple as that, and it's all about we all get carried away, with how great people are, and it's about good players. No disrespect. Liverpool was struggling. They've struggled into fourth position, didn't they? 2 years ago, and then the manager they go out and get Van Dijk and they bring in the goalkeeper. Suddenly they're a different team, aren't they? You look at them. Suddenly it made such a difference. And if you've got the you've got the finances to be able to go out and buy 2 or 3, Man United could be a great team in 2 or 3 years if they go and buy 4 fantastic players. But they've got to find them somewhere. Where are they? And it's about recruitment. So unless Jose they can go and bring in 3 or 4 players that are going to make the difference to them now, then they're not going to be challenging for the top 2. They're not going to be pushing Man City or Liverpool for a title. I thought at the start of the year, this year, they would. I really thought Tottenham were the one team. They finished 3rd last year, and I thought they'll close the gap this year on Liverpool and Man City, but they didn't. And Pochettino obviously took, he suffered through that. And but his record, I loved him. I thought he was a great guy. I'll get on well with him. But his record in the end, I think it was 25 games, or was it 24 points or 24 points, 25 games or whatever. That was relegation form, wasn't it, over the period? So, I mean, you're working for very ruthless people when you work with Joe Lewis. He's not going to stand, and he obviously looked at him and thought, hang on, we're not going to make Champions League here, so they brought Jose in. That would have been what he'd have come in, that would have been what he was brought in to do, make a top 4 finish, because they can't afford that new stadium. They can't afford not to be in the top 4. And he's probably on a bonus that would be absolutely incredible to do that job as well. So that is their aim this year, to try to make the top 4. It's going to be... They've got a chance. I could still see them doing it because nobody else seems to want that position, do they? Chelsea can't string 2 wins together. So there's every chance. Man United, it's a toss-up between them and Tottenham, and there's 3 or 4 teams that are fighting for that 4th spot, and Tottenham are one of them. But no, unless Jose gets money to spend, he's not suddenly going to bring kids out the youth team and turn them into world beaters. They're not around at Tottenham. There's not a great group of kids coming through.
Last one from me, Harry. I know you're a busy boy. I want to get your thoughts. Listening to you there saying that majority of it is down to the players.
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is someone who, and I read today that the propensity for the media to focus on negatives and lazy journalism means that we've all failed to understand what he is doing at that football club, which I have my own views on. Ole at United, does it not smack of too big a club for a man that, let's be frank, Cardiff and Molde, it isn't exactly a CV for a Man U job.
It does look it, no. I mean, it does look that way, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not being disrespectful. I mean, he looks a great guy and he was a good player and everything else. But you look at him and you listen, he doesn't quite come over as a Man United manager. But, you wish him well. And if they bring in 3 or 4 fantastic players, I mean, he's got Michael Carrick with him as well. And Michael's a great guy. I signed Michael as a 15-year-old. So I would love to see the pair of them do well. They look good people. But he's got a big job on. He's a tough job. I mean, we've had, look at the managers that have followed Fergie, and none of them have really, cracked it. It's been hard because of the team is in decline. I think Alex, obviously, when he left, they won the league that year, but he probably looked at it and thought, hang on, Rio's come to an end, Vidic is finishing, Evra's at it. It's time to, where do you replace these people? It's like, it's like we're saying, we go and get 3 or 4 new players, good top players. Where are they? Where do you find them? They're big clubs who don't want to sell. People don't want to sell their best players, do they?
Gary Neville said, Harry, that it was inevitable that Man U would find their way back on a successful track. We saw Liverpool 30 years. It looks like they're going to end it obviously this year, but 30 years without a Premier League title. Is it conceivable that a club the size of Manchester United could undergo the same kind of drought?
Absolutely, yeah, it's possible. I mean, we forget Man United of. We look back, 25. I forget how many years now, but they when they were struggling, a struggling team, weren't they? And got relegated, didn't they? I mean, they had a spell in the Championship, didn't they? So yeah, it can happen to any club. It's so you hope that it's a massive club, and a world famous club everywhere in the world is follows of Man United. So you wouldn't want to see them out the way for too long, but they've got a long road back. As I say, the recruitment is all important. They need somebody to come in, if they've got the money, who can spend the money right and bring in the right players. That is what it's about, good recruitment. And that's what Liverpool have done very well, bringing in Van Dijk. Was a massive. He absolutely transformed the team.
Big centre-half is what it does. Listen, Harry, I want to take it full circle. Big Fish Entertainment, they're responsible for bringing you and Noel over. It's going to be a great night on Friday, I am told. And again, I reiterate, tickets, there ain't many left, and that's testament to you boys. It's going to be a great night. And
we've still got to get to.
We'll sort that. I'll dip into the ARN fund and we'll find money to pay for our 2. But it's going to be a great night. And I guess from your side, come on down and listen to some great tales, right?
Yeah, we'll have a bit of fun. Yeah, it'll be a good night. I'm sure people enjoy it, and I think the people that came to the shows in England, we really had really positive response everywhere we went, and we even did the Albert Hall. I mean, I sat in my dressing room, I must be honest, I'm sitting on my own, there was no one there, there's a big picture of Frank Sinatra up there, and I went, Frank, I'm embarrassed, I can't believe this. I can't believe I do apologise,
But it's brilliant, but you're filling out these.
Hey, listen, Frank never won I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here.
No, he bloody didn't. He didn't either, and that was a great experience. You enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good fun. Good fun.
King of the jungle.
Good, nice people, and it was something different, wasn't it?
And this is it now, Harry. I mean, this is for you, touring the country, sharing your tales, and you're a wonderful orator. There is no doubt about that, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, but this is it, the lure and the temptation to get back into football, it's done?
Yeah, no, I've had my time, I mean, it's... I still go, I still go regular. I go to Bournemouth every week and watch them play, and I certainly will follow Chelsea now with Frank there. I'll get to see as much as I can of them. And I keep in touch with people but... I don't see myself getting back in now, really. I think I've had my day, and no, life's good though. I'm busy and enjoying it, and watching the grandkids play and all that. It's all part of the fun for me now, you know.
Well, it's wonderful to have you in. I said 10 minutes. I've taken
No
up
problem,
20
guys. Always
of
nice
your
to
time.
talk to you.
Platinum List ticket lovers. It's going to be the best show in town this weekend. Harry Redknapp with Noel Brody. It is bigfishentertainments.me. There are only, and I mean this sincerely, there are only a few tickets left. So if you're interested, and I'm sure many of you are, we've got Bournemouth, we've got Portsmouth, we've got West Ham, we've got Spurs. The man knows an awful lot about football. It's going to be a great night. Harry Redknapp, pleasure.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you.